I thought Tom Cruise was a boating holiday for male cats. Oh, God. I went to a posh party and everyone was drinking and knitting. I got pins and needles. I'm on a seabed diet. If I see a bed, I eat it. That's silly. Frozen apples, they're hardcore. Whenever I wash up, I get covered in soapy bubbles. It's Sud's law. My local village was destroyed by toilet paper. Everyone was wiped out. So I was in the party shop with my granny. She said, "This kaleidoscope's rubbish." I said, "That's a balloon pump." So I saw this dolphin serial killer. It was Jack the Flipper. I was working in a travel agent and this bloke walked in. He said, "I want to book a flight, very short notice." I said, "You've just missed it." He said, "I want to go somewhere hot and secluded." So I locked him in the photocopy room. Today I went shoplifting while balanced on the shoulders of a group of vampires. I was done for theft on 4 counts. People with guns who say, "Give me your money," you've got to hand it to them. I was a terrible builder. When the foreman said to me, "Have you got a plumb line?" I said, "The one I usually use is, have you got a plum?" So I went to my GP and said, "I feel like I've been hit on the head by a set of bongos." He said, "You've probably got slight percussion." He said, "You're turning into an airport." I said, "Is it terminal?" Whenever I'm in Italy, I become a rickety old table. I guess I'm just a hopeless Rome antique. My granddad was a film actor a very long time ago. He was a star of the bronze screen. ... dash dash dash. I really regret that. Remorse code. After I've had an argument, I sometimes hold a hoover over my head. It helps clear the air. The other day I sat on a hairdryer. That put the wind up me. So I was lying in a bath of meth and my girlfriend rang up and said she was lying in a bath of paraffin. I said, "I'm with you in spirit." So I was on this train. I said, "I don't think much of this bunk bed." He said, "That's the luggage rack." This bloke said to me, he said, "Do you ever talk off the top of your head?" I said, "No, halfway down at the front." I went on holiday with my horse. It was self-cantering. Oh dear. So I said to this bloke, I said, "When I was on holiday, I stayed in a bed and breakfast." He said, "Half bored?" I said, "No, I was totally bored." I was a rubbish church window cleaner. I got rid of all the stains. This bloke said to me, he said, "Shall we talk about diaries?" I said, "Let's." That's spelled L-E-T-T-S. Today I went shoplifting while balanced on the shoulders of a group of vampires. I was done for theft on 4 counts. People with guns who say, "Give me your money," you've got to hand it to them. I was a terrible builder. When the foreman said to me, "Have you got a plumb line?" I said, "The one I usually use is, have you got a plum?" So I went to my GP and said, "I feel like I've been hit on the head by a set of bongos." He said, "You've probably got slight percussion." He said, "You're turning into an airport." I said, "Is it terminal?" He said, antiseptic? I said, I've got nothing against the Jews. Oh dear. Do you ever get that when you're halfway through eating a horse and you think to yourself, I'm not as hungry as I thought I was? I've got a horse called Treacle. He's got golden stirrups. Okay. The other day I sat on a hairdryer. That put the wind up me. So I was lying in a bath of meth and my girlfriend rang up and said she was lying in a bath of paraffin. I said, I'm with you in spirit. I've got a friend who's a very tall blade of grass. He's easily swayed. This bloke said to me, he said, I bet you can't name a famous Egyptian landmark. I said, that's what you Sphinx. My dog's bark is worse than his bite because he hasn't got any teeth. And when he barks, people's ears explode. I saw a 20-foot parrot the other day. You could knock me down with a feather. Continuing with my exploration of Tim Vine's joke book. So here we go. And bear in mind I haven't read any of these beforehand, so I'm just going through them. I saw this extinct bird with a hunchback. It was Quasimodo. I've started displaying some of my clothes and possessions and photographs of me. I've made an exhibition of myself. I didn't have a happy upbringing. I remember my 3rd birthday party. I was 15. The Second World War was no picnic because they couldn't find a big enough blanket. Okay, so I went to the petrol station. I said, fill her up. When I came back, he was stuffing my wife's face with cream cakes. Oh dear. This turkey challenged me to a fight. He threw down the giblet. I saw this angry Veruca. He was on the walked path. Oh dear. So I went on a date and all we talked about was wooden leg extensions. The conversation was stilted. I'm looking for a house at the moment. It's my house. I've forgotten where I live. Sorry, I took a bit too long to think about that one. Okay, finally. I spent the whole of today pruning. I was just chucking prunes at people. Don't do that. Unless you can run faster than them. Alright, more jokes from Tim Vine's biggest ever joke book. So, let's begin. Okay. I was driving here and a policeman stopped me because one of my tyres was a bit flat. Luckily, I had a foot pump in the boot. So I knocked him out with that and drove off. Okay. I was working in a garage and little Bo Peep walked in. She said, there's smoke coming out of my bonnet. I said, your hair's on fire. When I drive my car, eggs shoot out the boot. It's a hatchback. Okay. I'm colourblind, but it doesn't stop me enjoying life. The other night I saw Joseph and his amazing brown coat. It was great. So I got a job at Burger King and Andrew Lloyd Webber walked in. He said, give me 2 Whoppers. I said, you're good looking and your musicals are great. fat man walked up to me, smashed a vase over my head and said "Kapow." I said, "Don't you mean kapow?" He said, "No, I've got china in my hand." Oh dear. You invented Tipex. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, this is a long one. So I was in this restaurant and during the starter the waiter came over, tapped me on the head with his little finger and then walked off. Then during the main course he got his index finger and applied gentle pressure to my shoulder. And then while I was having dessert he brushed my ear lightly with his thumb. That's the difference between a good restaurant and a great restaurant. It's the little touches. Okay, another round of jokes from the biggest ever Tim Vine joke book. Which makes me wonder how many other joke books are there by Tim Vine. If this is the biggest one, this implies there must be other joke books out there by Tim Vine or containing Tim Vine's jokes. Anyway, let's get started. So I went to the optician's. He said, "How many fingers am I holding up?" I said, 17,251. He said, "Wrong, 3. But I tell you what, you can't half count quick." Okay. I did some cross-dressing this morning. I said, "Where are my flipping socks?" I saw these 2 citrus fruits having a fight. It was Satsuma wrestling. This woman said to me, she said, "I've got designs on you." Then she showed me a diagram of my spleen. I used to be a teddy boy. I had 2 furry ears either side of my head. The other day someone burnt the bottom of my shoes. It was soul destroying. My Christmas decorations are inflatable. I'm forever blowing baubles. I refuse to work in a coal mine. It's beneath me. I met a fox who was brilliant at football. It was Brazil Brush. For those of you not from the UK, there used to be a puppet called Basil Brush. I've just been on a crash diet. I drove my car into a tree and spent a month on a drip. Why don't eggs tell jokes? They'd crack each other up. I don't trust stairs. They're always up to something. What do you call someone with no body and no nose? Nobody knows. Did you hear the rumour about butter? Well, I'm not going to spread it. I need a drum kit. Why couldn't the bicycle stand up by itself? It was too tired. What did one hat say to the other? Stay here, I'm going on ahead. Oh God. Why did Billy get fired from the banana factory? He kept throwing away the bent ones. Dad, can you put my shoes on? No, I don't think they'll fit me. That's not so much a dad joke as a reply to someone, isn't it? Why can't a nose be 12 inches long? Because then it would be a foot. What does a lemon say when it answers the phone? Yellow. Here we go. This graveyard looks overcrowded. People must be dying to get in. Continuing with my exploration of Tim Vine's joke book. So here we go. And bear in mind I haven't read any of these beforehand, so I'm just going through them. I saw this extinct bird with a hunchback. It was Quasimodo. I've started displaying some of my clothes and possessions and photographs of me. I've made an exhibition of myself. I didn't have a happy upbringing. I remember my 3rd birthday party. I was 15. The Second World War was no picnic because they couldn't find a big enough blanket. Okay, so I went to the petrol station.